Brothers and sisters, it's another wonderful day again that the Lord has actually made it possible to see yet another wonderful day. And on my side here, it's very cold, even though outside it's so sunny. But that is how the climate is in Nairobi. At times you'll see the sun is so bright, but it's still cold, and that is why you see us on these jumpers and sweaters and all that, because it's cold, but the sun is so bright. Now today I'm also privileged to actually come up to learn from one of the lessons that Joseph Smith, actually the vision that Joseph Smith actually received. And this was a vision of heaven and how heaven is. And Joseph Smith actually, described it. And without further ado, let us just take a lesson. Let us just go through this lesson and see exactly what the prophet really taught. And please welcome.
When the church was organized in 1830, members didn't understand the plan of salvation the same way we do today. The first generation of saints brought ideas from their old faiths as they joined the church.
Christians had been arguing about the afterlife for centuries, and American Christians in Joseph Smith's America debated back and forth, how does one get to heaven? What is life like there? They gleaned from biblical passages about there being a heaven and there being a hell, and they debated what those might mean for individual followers of Jesus. But a near consensus existed among American Christians. Heaven was small. It was for the elect. Most people wouldn't be there.
I was taught that Christ would have a mere few trophies of his mission to the world, while his antagonist would have countless millions. My situation appeared more precarious than a ticket in a lottery. Caleb Rich.
In February 1832, while working on their inspired translation of the Bible, Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon had a remarkable vision of the afterlife, organized not into a single heaven and hell, but into degrees of glory. When he printed the Revelation, William W. Phelps assumed most saints would rejoice over it.
The vision is the greatest news that was ever published to man. William W. Phelps.
Other saints, like Phoebe Peck, encouraged their friends to prayerfully consider the new teachings.
These things are now in print and are going forth into the world. You perhaps will have an opportunity of reading for yourself, and if you do, I hope you will read with careful and a prayerful heart. Phoebe Peck.
But not everyone found it easy to accept the new revelation. As missionaries went out to the branches, they sometimes encountered serious concerns.
Ezra Landing in Geneseo denied the vision, and other members joined him. Brother Landing said the vision was of the devil, and he believed it no more than he believed the devil was crucified. John Murdoch.
It may seem strange to modern Latter-day Saints why the vision prompted such strong reactions among early LDS converts, but we have to recognize that that vision was received in a time of deep theological debate and argument. Rival Christian groups, the Old Guard Calvinists and a renegade group of Christians, fought over the question of the afterlife. Those renegade Christians were called Universalists because they taught that God's power and his patience, his mercy would eventually save the entire human family. And this is an idea that was radical. Universalists challenged traditional Christians, and traditional Christians fired back. They argued that this could lead to social or religious chaos. What would it mean to moral order if people thought no matter what they did, eventually they'd be saved?
Even Brigham Young initially had concerns about the vision's teachings.
My traditions were such that when the vision first came to me, it was directly contrary and opposed to my former education. I said, wait a little. I did not reject it, but I could not understand it. Brigham Young.
The 21st section of the Doctrine and Covenants encourages us to follow the prophet in patience and faith. We sometimes break the patience part. Like Brigham and perhaps others of the day, we can sometimes benefit by realizing that we have to grow into the revelations. We have to grow in understanding in patience, which will strengthen our faith and help us to realize that the Lord does, in fact, direct his church.
Rather than rejecting the vision or leaving the church, Brigham Young took time to wrestle with it and ponder its teachings.
I used to think and pray, to read and think until I knew and fully understood it for myself. Brigham Young.
It seems in retrospect that the people were not nearly so much afraid of what the vision actually said as what they thought it might mean. The 76th section of the Doctrine and Covenants neither teaches the kind of universalism where everyone will be saved without the need for obedience, nor the kind of restrictive salvation where only the very few elect are saved. It clearly reveals to us our loving Father in heaven, who truly desires to give all of his children all of the blessings and knowledge and joy he has, depending on the laws each of us is willing to obey.
It wasn't until Nauvoo when the prophet Joseph Smith and others started teaching about exaltation in more precise and more dramatic ways did Doctrine and Covenants section 76 take on a new light. And they could come back to that revelation with new questions. What does human potential actually look like? What does God have in store for his children? What has Christ made possible for all of the human family? No text in all of our revelations presses that question more poignantly than Doctrine and Covenants section 76.
My dear brothers and sisters, as you can see there, that when the prophet Joseph Smith received this revelation, it didn't actually augur well to most members of the church, okay? Because there is a mainstream way of believing, and now something new comes on how the Lord actually is telling his people, this is how it is, and it never actually augured very well. But what happens is that those who are valiant and those who are patient enough, like Brigham Young, who actually we are told here that he also doubted the vision, but he went and seek understanding for himself. And I think at the end of it all, he ended up getting the understanding that he so required. And that is why I'm telling you, my dear brothers and sisters, that it's never easy for one to just accept the gospel just like that, or for one to just believe in the gospel just like that. No, it takes the Spirit of God. It takes the Spirit of God for somebody to develop that faith, to be able to actually be able to join the church and accept or have that personal testimony that the prophet Joseph Smith was a prophet of God and all that. And this takes a revelation from God Himself. That is from the Spirit of God. And as you can see there, that there were quite a number of congregation who were following the prophet. They were also in the church. But what happens is that when the vision came and the prophet decided to declare it to them, a lot of them actually doubted. They doubted the vision because to them, the vision was not explaining things relative to what the mainstream belief then was actually explaining. And that is what we are told there. We had the mainstream beliefs, the early, so-called Pentecostal churches and what we call the Calvinism way of believing, and which was contrary to what the prophet was actually revealing, contrary to what this revelation was all about. And this is one of the things that I personally know that the prophet Joseph Smith was a prophet of God, because one, that the things he taught were contrary and were so different from what the mainstream churches were teaching. And when you look at what the prophet actually, the visions that he received, you end up realizing that with the time, they are being justified, even in the scriptures, they are being justified. And these are things that mainstream churches were not even aware. And even though they were teaching the Bible, they were not even aware that these things are there, you know? And this is actually what it is, because the prophet of God never or will never necessarily teach or reveal things which are necessarily being believed by other people, because those people believed something that was very wrong. And that is where now, when a new vision came about life after death or life after this life, it never actually augured well because they did not understand it. Why? Because this is something that was not actually being taught in their very own churches. But you cannot compete with God, because what God has revealed, He has revealed it. You cannot actually, counter God. And that is why you find those who did not accept the vision, and some of them, as you may say there, you will realize that they were saying that this is actually from the devil. That is what they would say. This is actually from the devil and all that stuff. But those who went and seek truth for themselves, the Spirit of God was able to reveal to them what exactly the prophet Joseph Smith revealed was actually true. Okay, so it is never easy. It is never easy. Even in the days of the children of Israel, some of them did not ended up doubting Moses. If at all Moses was actually used of God, they doubted him. They doubted him, and at times they will say, in Egypt we were eating watermelons and we were taking pineapples, but you've brought us in a desert where we are dying of hunger. We don't even have water to drink. And they doubted Moses' capability. And the Lord vindicated himself through Moses several times. But at times they will forget even those miracles and they will still doubt Moses. And this is what exactly happened also in the days of the prophet Joseph Smith. That when this vision came, a lot of people doubted him. A lot of people doubted. And a lot of people accused him. But you know what? Once the Lord has revealed, He has revealed, and He does not actually excuse Himself, or He does not excuse anyone, because He is God and He has revealed the truth to His children. And those who are His children, they will hear the voice and they will seek out the testimonies for themselves, just like the way Brigham Young did. So, my dear brothers and sisters, it is an opportunity for us to constantly continue to seek the Lord, to actually build our own testimony, lest we find ourselves in the brink of doubting, just like the earlier believers who somehow doubted this vision. But I know if we depend on the Lord and we seek His Spirit, then definitely He will always be there, and He will always be there to confirm His truthfulness to us. And I know this is true, and I say this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. So, my dear brothers and sisters, thank you very much for being with us, and I'm looking forward to be with you. And I'm also calling upon those who have not subscribed. Please make sure you subscribe, you support our channel. And I want to say thank you very much for all of you who are supporting us. We are now 500 subscribers, which is very good. We are heading there. And please continue supporting us as we strive forth even to share these glad tidings. Otherwise, thank you very much. God bless you and have a peaceful week.